This week in comic books, we get yet another Batman story depicting his youth. After the whole Waynes who passed away, his whole trip into being the Batman. We get that because, God, we need another Batman story. There's just not enough Batman out there. Not enough. Over in the land of Marvel, we get Heroes for Hire, right? We're kind of dealing with the whole Reign storyline. What happens when a bunch of villains try to be the law enforcement for crooked reasons? Exactly what you would expect, but this one's done beautifully. And in the land of Independence, we get Aerosmith, not the band. Just it's just the guy's last name, and it's fantastically, whimsically, historically altered, historical genius. I kind of like it. Let's talk about those kind of books and a bunch more right after that intro. Hey, what's going on, you wonderful weirdos? Pocan Joe, and as always, super cool that you came by. Really happy that you're here. I'm going to apologize. I'm not in the chat with you guys. Unfortunately, I'm at an American Legion meeting as you're watching this right now. It's election time, and your boy's on the election committee to see who the officers are going to be and that kind of stuff. So I apologize for not being here, but hopefully you can still enjoy this. So let's jump right into it, and definitely I'll come back and watch this. So let me know what you think about these books. Comment down below or right there in the chat. I want to know your opinions. So we're going to dive right into this with Batman because there's a lot of Batman. There's a lot of Batman. But more especially, we got Detective Comics number 1049. Doesn't really deal with Batman. It's more the Bat family and their infiltration into the Arkham Towers. And there's some crooked stuff going on. Probably some drug dealing. Probably some, messing with the inmates, especially the female ones. There's a drug that's kind of calming everybody down. Movies are a big thing in this issue. They keep referencing movies in this. And I thought that was interesting. But Batgirl's trying to get Huntress out because she's been embedded in there. But she doesn't want to leave, right? So, right? Crooked stuff going on. We also been introduced to another character who's part of the Party Crashers. Apparently they're drug pushers of some sort, takes up all the remains from all these other gangs in Arkham, like Penguin and Jokers and stuff like that. All their henchmen are kind of working here now. So suspicious stuff going on in here. But was it any good? Not the main story. The backstory in this was pretty interesting. There's a backstory in this where we're dealing with Kane working at the Gotham orphanage and working with kids and talking about kids' fears. I like child psychology. Not that I'm into it or anything, but I always like the concept of it because it's got to be super hard. And they kind of touch on some things in here that were pretty interesting. But there's one particular boy in here who kind of gets special treatment from Bruce Wayne. Like, he gets lavish toys. Everybody thinks he's a rich boy or somehow related to Bruce Wayne, and probably none of that's true. My guess is as just Batman or Bruce Wayne's grooming him to be a Robin. It's probably a Robin in the near future. Although I can't confirm that right now, but it just seems like that. Next, more Batman. So, if you don't know, Batman's parents, they got murdered. And Alfred had to take care of, him as a small child. And then he starts his journey to be Batman. And that's what we're kind of picking up here. There's a lot of heartfelt moments in here. There were some particular lines that just really kind of stuck out to me. We did the clearing out of the library, and in past stories, they kind of changed it into a boxing ring. He kind of taught him how to box. But in this one, he took out all the books and everything and was like, yeah, it's time for you to start reading and build your own library and build your own knowledge base. So he starts doing that. But of course, he's reading books about Taekwondo and investigative stuff and getting real big brained, right? On that kind of stuff. Not exactly what Alfred had in mind, but basically we're just dealing with a young man who's angry and needs to lash out, goes to underground fights to become a better fighter. Like, he needs to be more. I like the aspect of this story of his little friend who basically informs him that, just he wants to be a cop, and she's like, you need to think bigger, Slim. I mean, you got all these resources, you got all this stuff. You need to think a little bigger than that. And I like that. If you have means and resources and you're able to do more, then you should do more. It's always been my kind of philosophy. But I like where this is going for the most part. But man, how many Batman stories can you read in a row? Well, let's find out with Batman and Brigby. That's a segue. Right? This is good. As I've gotten more knowledgeable about who Bigby is and this whole Fable run, and kind of understanding him a little better in here, like why does he smoke cigarettes and stuff like that. I had a great conversation with Beckerman about that. The art in here, it's the art, right? It's not bad. It's just not really for me. But basically, for the most part, our heroes get it handed to them by Bookworm, who's not really Bookworm. Da-da. There's the big twist. There's a couple other little twists in here, too. This is the turning point in the story where the villain's going to start really getting into some bad stuff now that he's got this kind of magic book with spells and stuff in it. So for the most part, I like it. And I'm glad that it's not Bookworm in the sense of Bookworm. I like that it's something else because now we can bring a bigger threat than just having, basically a nerd, right? That reads books. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that, but not really what I'm looking for in a villain. But for the most part, I like the turns in it so far. Next in DC, a non-Batman book. Blue and Gold. Still same bro humor in it. Omnizone has returned and still lays claim to Earth that it's her property, and we find out why she's making this claim. And I hate to say it, but it's not too much different than what we've already done here on Earth. Basically, 70,000 years ago, her family laid claim to Earth, right before any of us were conscious enough to even argue it in any way. And what was it? Blue Beetle kind of brings this up as a point. He's like, we've kind of done every continent on this earth has done this so far. So they might have a little bit of a legitimate claim here. And of course, Brewster Gold ain't hearing none of this. We get an appearance by Rip Hunter in here who storms in. And apparently one of these two didn't make it clear. And if you know, let me know. He's trying to save his grandfather. One of these two is his grandfather. I never knew a connection there before. So if there is one, let me know. I would definitely love to go back and check that out. But yeah, dad's big bad alien, daughter's super sexy kill 'em blue chick. It's just basic comic book tropery at its best. Tropery. I'm going to make that a word. And, yeah, and anytime you get a little Rip Hunter, right? He's like the Indiana Jones of time travel. Alright, jumping into Marvel. So I picked up Black Knight and didn't realize until the very last second that it deals with this Doctor Strange, the death of Doctor Strange story, and there's an X-Men tie-in to it as well. I'm assuming all this is taking place because of the Darkhold. It didn't really make that clear in this particular book, but we can assume that because of all the Darkhold stuff going on. But basically, evil washes over the land. It's transforming everybody into the worst kinds of themselves, right? The beast mode type stuff. And Black Knight shows up. But it's not really Black Knight. And this is where I messed up. In the previous run of Black Knight, we find out Black Knight's not going to be Black Knight anymore. He passes the sword, the ebony sword, to his daughter, who doesn't really like him very much, and takes other ebony items and fashions a chair out of it that he kind of sits in. So it's like the chair of knowledge, if you will. And he keeps getting flashbacks that this isn't the first time this stuff has happened. This stuff actually happened back in Arthurian times with King Arthur and Merlin and all that, and kind of shows the comparison of the two happening. So why is all this happening? Well, Doctor Strange died. He was the Sorcerer Supreme that kind of kept the border in between that world and this world kind of there, so you can't cross over. But of course he's dead, so of course it comes flooding in, and it's just bad. It's just, like, I tried to get behind this. It sounded so cool, and then when you start reading it, and all you get through, like, I don't know, 85% of the book is just female Black Knight being snarky to everybody and jumping ahead, which the ebony, you can blame that on the ebony blade, right? Because it brings out the worst in you, of course. And then constantly dad talking mental telepathy wise to her, like, hey, I've been through this before, blah, 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 blah. That's the whole story the entire time. And then we meet up with somebody who can actually help, and we still don't even want her help. Like, even woman on woman, there's no woman team in this. It's her doing her own thing, and of course, sacrificing herself by stabbing herself, and that made all the bad monsters go away. And I'm just like, what? You gave me 85% of this book. Is this her being a just a horrible person? Dad's legitimately trying to turn a new leaf. You don't hear nothing because you think he abandoned you, but he didn't even know you were born, and that was made clear in the last story. It's just somebody just an excuse for them to be snarky, and there was no need to be, and that's annoying. So yeah, I didn't much care for that. Next, Hulk. Spaceship Hulk, as everybody's calling it. I was hoping that this was going to go someplace cool with the whole spaceship aspect, getting in real Freudian, where, your body's nothing but a shell, your emotions will give you energy, and your intellectual mind would be the pilot. I thought for sure we were going to kind of walk down that path, and it's not too late. But it doesn't seem like it at this point, because this Bruce Banner here is basically Oppenheimer. If you don't know who Oppenheimer is, he's the guy who invented the A bomb and said that he was and regretted it. Like, when he saw the thing and the devastation it was able to do, he was like, "I'm the destroyer of worlds." Like, he went into like serious depression, right? So this alternate Bruce Banner is kind of like that, only he made a G bomb, gamma ray bomb, and apparently he turned quite a chunk of the world into mindless hulks, right? Abominations, if you will. And his father-in-law, General Ross, who's President Ross in this one, is kind of like, nah, we can't have this. We need to put these things somewhere there. So they stuck him in the void, the same void that Spaceship Hulk was traveling through and how he got caught. And our alternate Bruce is very fascinated with the fact that we have an intellectual one that can actually speak. Apparently the other ones are just mindless. So yeah, not interesting at all. just not interesting. I'm gonna give it another issue though, because I'm really hoping they kind of play on the shell, the pilot, the power. I kind of hope they play that up a little bit, give us some insight into how that would work. But right now, I'm not enjoying it. Cool cover, bro. But that's about it there. All right, Moon Knight. So you remember Zodiac from the last issue, right? Psychopathic killer, right? Moon Knight's not having this. First off, that cover, right? Let's just take a break and say, wow, that's a pretty cool cover. And it is. But for the most part, story-wise, this is him chasing down Zodiac, trying to find him, trying to find something out about him. One guy knew something, wasn't going to give up the ghost on it, was willing to die to keep his secret. Moon Knight's not having that, of course. So what happens? Well, Zodiac shows up to his psychiatrist's house, Moon Knight's psychiatrist house, and has the head of the clown, a villain. Yeah, that's. Oh, we also find out Tigra. She's been hanging out with him. Apparently, she's snitching. She's a snitch because she's reporting to Black Panther, and Black Panther and Moon Knight don't have exactly the best relationship in the past, if you know your comic book lore. So apparently, we're picking up on that. How he doesn't trust him. Doesn't really want him out doing anything other than what he needs to do. But I liked this, and I've been liking this. So this is going to be a continuous read for me, even when it gets to its slow issue, which will happen. Next, Strange Academy. Boom! Right, we get Gaslighter, one or the other. I'm kidding. But this is fun. So the kids are learning spells. We know Calvin lost his powers because his jacket's gone. But somehow or another he's able to do magic. Why is this? Because Gaslamp is giving him wishes, basically. And Calvin, of course, being a poor kid in an orphanage or academy for gifted kids, but probably scholarship or woo-woo fund, whatever. Anyway, he is going to work for Gaslamp and selling these little wish boxes to give everybody different powers. It's a drug story. It's a drug pushing story. Gaslamp's the dealer. Calvin's going to be like the pusher of it. And you're going to get all the kids hooked and everybody's going to be high on magic. Cracked out. It's a crack story. And it's good. It's realistic to some degree. Anything that makes you feel good can be addictive, and learning a new magic trick. But as we know in Marvel lore, Magic always comes at a price, so we're going to find out what the price is here. Good stuff. All right, next, Silver Surfer Rebirth. So we got Thanos back. Just go ahead and spoil that one for you. So basically, Marvel's son, right, has to save a ship that's about to fall into a black hole. He's trying to live in his daddy's shoes. You get that speech in here a little bit. Didn't really know his father, but trying to live up to the legend more than probably the person. Finds out this is a little bit much out of his league. Silver Surfer pops in there. Is like, yo, I got you, bud. Gives him a hand. They save the ship, and they fly off together and, have like a bro moment where they're kind of talking. And then all of a sudden, wham! They go through a barrier, and it transports Silver Surfer into another. For right now, I'm just going to say reality. I'm pretty sure the Reality Stone has something to do with it. I don't read the previews for comic books when they come out, so a lot of people are already saying the Reality Stone's involved. I'm just going to go with that. And there he is on a planet. There's Marvel, because he never died. He even says he survived cancer. And they're fighting Skrull army, right? Battling it out. And then all of a sudden Thanos comes in out of nowhere. It kills Marvel again. So you get him for like a second, a couple of pages. Thanos shows up, kills him, and is like, yo, yeah, you need to come work with me. Something's going down and I need your help. So what is going down? What is happening? I don't know. I'm on board. I like me a little Thanos. Heck yeah, let's jump down this road and see where it goes. And the funny thing is I'm not what you would call a Silver Surfer fan. Like, I don't get excited about Silver Surfer. It's just a piece of jewelry flying through space on a longboard. I know. I can feel you clicking the thumbs down now, and I apologize. Next, Heroes for Hire. So yeah, like I said in the beginning, this is a very, very simple story. We got a new Thunderbolt team put together. We got Rhino, Electro, Taskmaster, Agony, and at the end of the story, a U.S. agent shows up, which we kind of already knew from the last run, but whatever. Devil's Reign run. But regardless, basically infighting, right? They're the enforcement police officers now. Fisk, if you will. Fist. It's hard to say, but I'm not editing. We're rolling. So it was kind of cool seeing them fight. The banter going back and forth. Great action scenes in here, and the art is very, very vibrant in this. Cool stances. I mean, just good use of color. It really catches your eye to where you want to stare at it. So yeah, this is a good read. I like it. I like the Devil's Reign stuff so far. Again, not a huge Daredevil fan, but I'm really enjoying this kind of event right here. Next, Venom. Not digging this. I don't know why. I'm not attracted to this story. Every time I read it, it seems more like a chore than an enjoyment. And it's not that it's not written bad or anything like that. I just don't care. In this one, and I think this is the problem I'm having with this one. Dylan has been captured. They're running tests on him. His symbiote is trying to catch back up with him and get to him. Venom himself. Sleeper's caged up, having tests done on it, right? And then I think we had like a mini battle happen. I'm not sure if it was in his head or if it was a real thing, because they just kind of skipped right past it and went to our big bads talking, right? The director of the hospital, and then this super strong, super vicious symbiote, right? And I'm like, why are we taking the long road to this story? It doesn't make much sense to me. The problem I'm having with this is if the big bad, right, is really wanting to do some damage and stuff, what's the point of all these tests and this long torture, right, by other people's means? I don't know. I'm not getting it. I mean, look at this thing. That's our bad guy, and he's letting all the doctors and nurses carry out his revenge, I guess. Not really sure. It seems a little convoluted. Going into Independence, I liked this. This is interesting, and this is probably not everybody's story. I often criticize a comic book for having too much narration in it. Unfortunately, that has to be done in this one. We kind of take place in an alternate reality of Earth where World War One's happening, and we kind of have English against the Persians. Um, America is called the United States of Columbia, right? Like DC Columbia, right? That whole kind of thing. But our protagonist here, he's an American who joined the fight on the English side. They have dragons and magical spells that allow them to fly, so they're like the flying corps. Um, Apparently, he understands a lot about trolls because he knows one. It's a little woo-ish, but whatever. And so that qualified him for a top secret mission behind the enemy lines, right? And that's where they kind of left us. But in the beginning, this is a slow burn. Um, we kind of deal with his day to day. You know, what's it like being a soldier there, and what's it like to fly, and how important these spells are. And there's a little racism going on. Like a lot of the English guys don't like it when trolls come and drink in their bars or pubs, I guess they would call them, even though they're soldiers in their military force, right? Um, so yeah, a lot of camaraderie in here. If you're a veteran, you'd pick up on a lot of this stuff. Big on the camaraderie in here. Big on how the most extreme moments just become your mundane life at some point, like battle and stuff like that. A lot of that kind of stuff. You'll probably be attracted to that. But you know, if you're looking for a superhero story, this isn't it. Last but not least, Primordial. So I literally blew through this in like, I think it was like 4 minutes. And that's me looking at the art and everything. This was a very fast read. If you remember, our Russian scientist sent out a signal so she can get her dog back. And her dog's with 2 monkeys right now. Abel's one of them. Abel's probably the more important character in this issue. They follow the signal, the space signal, back to Earth. The Russians are like, nah, we ain't hearing this garbage. And they try to shoot down the ship, injuring Abel. Abel gets hurt, but for some reason the Russian scientist lady is starting to get kind of hurt too. Like she grabs her chest right where the monkey got shot on her, right? And I'm like, I thought the dog was her thing. Why is she feeling this way with the monkey? I'm not really sure what's going on. You get so little in each one of these issues that it's kind of hard to kind of follow along, or you just walk away with a bunch of questions. I don't know. And I know this is a popular book right now, but I don't know how much longer I'm going to be reading this. To be honest with you, it's not really giving me enough to really stick to. So yeah, that's my comic book haul. What else is going on this month? I got all kinds of things going on. I'm going to be hanging out with Roscoe. I love that guy. Geeked out with Roscoe. I'm going to be hanging out with him. I got In the Mix this week. We got Legion of Comics' huge giveaway. I'll be giving something away on there, something a little special for all of you. So make sure you subscribe. Legion of Comics. Definitely want to do that. So yeah. Hopefully I'll see you around the community. Chat it up. All right, guys. I got nothing else, and I got to get to a meeting. So hope you all enjoyed it. Talk to y'all later. Bye.